Oh my God. You want to hear about dating experiences? There's no such thing as a date upstate. You know, if a guy comes to fix your house and you like him and he drinks a beer, the next thing you know, he's saying, well, I could stay around for 20 minutes. And you're thinking, 20 minutes? You don't even know me. You're giving me no love talk. And there you are, wanting to stay for 20 minutes. I mean, I guess that's get your clothes off, you know, 2 minutes of foreplay, 2 minutes you have to go outside and have a cigarette. I don't know.
Well, I think you got the guys pegged right here. I don't think there's any foreplay, as a matter of fact. And the 20 minutes is mostly smoking the cigarette afterwards. What's been your experience with this?
You know, I wish that I were not as addicted to men as I am. I've thought about that. I kind of find women's bodies rather beautiful, but they don't exactly turn me on sexually, which is sad. So, you grow up in Ireland, you get used to the old one too, I'll say that. And then, of course, there's love, there's passion, there's the spirit. I don't know, I'm a little disappointed at this point in my life. I've had some good times with men, but they're not as playful as I might like.
Are you ready to go back to the old sod, do you think?
Oh, they're terrible there. No. You don't understand. I can attack American men, but they're nothing like the Irish. They're like, you know, 3 or 4 beers, and then they're saying, oh, hon, tomorrow night. You say, tomorrow night, it's today. You know, you could be dead tomorrow night. And they're like, oh, I'll be back when I'm feeling better. But they never feel better. That's the truth. They want it. They like to think about it. They might even like to jack off to you. But they don't actually like to perform the act in Ireland. No, drinking is more satisfying, I'm afraid.
Well, that seems to be the case here, you know, because I've watched you hunt a few men in the local bars here.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
And, you've been watching me hunting, have you?
And I mean, I've seen you get down on all fours and go after these guys.
Oh, okay. Now, this is the thing. An interviewer like yourself should not be so crude. I never get down on all fours. I might sit on a guy's lap and sort of, you know, try and cheer him up. But I don't get down on all fours. If I loved someone deeply, I might get down on all fours if that was his thing. But it's not my opening gambit, so to speak.
That was just a figure of speech, by the way.
Right, of course.
You know, like a cheetah or a lioness, you know, going after the prey. But
oh, you haven't seen me go after the prey. Let me tell you, that's in a dark bar, and the music's playing. I like to dance, you know.
Tell me about your ideal man, since you haven't found one, obviously, here. And I've watched you spend many lonely nights here singing ballads to yourself. What's actually happening in your mind? What's the ideal that you do have?
Oh, my God. You know, he'd have the sort of cavalier ways of a George Clooney and the political savvy of a Bill Clinton. I don't think Bill Clinton's probably a great lover, but I like the way he talks. And I suppose I'd like a sort of you know, it's something between thoughtful and humorous, somewhere in there, and a little bit of passion and soul. But the truth of the matter is, I don't know. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I'd settle for. You know, I like a smart man. Well,
the Chinese are very smart. Have you ever had your eyes ever opened up for a Oriental? Moving past your gaze?
Asians, that's the word, you know, Justin. No, not Oriental. That's not politically correct. The word is Asians. Asian men. I think in some of the Japanese films, you know, like the samurais or something, they kind of turn me on. I like a warrior. I have to admit, I like a kind of a classical male figure. I like a man with a big chest. I like a man who has a bear-like quality, and when he sees I'm a little sad, he goes, oh, come here, let me put my arms around you. I like that. I like a bear hug from a kind of a strong man.
What you're talking about is hairy guys, in other words. You're talking about those hairy bears that the gay guys like, you know?
I don't know that he has hairy bears. Hair everywhere, you know, but I like the big chest for some reason. I've always been turned on to men with big chests and big shoulders. I guess it's a seeking of, you know, comfort and protection. But I don't like a skinny guy, and I don't like those guys that look like cranes, you know, where they're sort of all sunken chested. A lot of intellectuals are like that. They just don't. But I like, who does turn me, you know who turned me on? And you're going to like this. Gorbachev.
That little scar on his head, the little scar?
Gorbachev. I like that big head. And I don't mind if a guy's lost his hair. When I'm on jury duty, I always fall in love with the judge. You know, because there's something masculine and authoritative about him, and he's like telling the truth. But such a guy has to be so secure in his masculinity that he's not threatened by me.
Well, I don't think there's many men around who wouldn't be threatened by you. You're a real fireball, Molly. When you hit the American scene, there was steam everywhere. Why don't you recount what your thoughts were about the ideal date, your first ideal date when you came to America after watching all those American movies with George Clooney, etc. What was your dream date, and how did it actually add up in practice?
God, what did I want? And, you know, I keep thinking of foreign men, actually, not of Americans. I actually was sort of turned on by Putin, too, but when I realized what a political skunk he was, I let go of that one. And you know, even Sarkozy, I guess I like a head of state. I'd like Netanyahu if he wasn't such a, you know, horrible beast. That's the trouble. A lot of the men that turn me on, they turn out to be, you know, Serbian generals or something. So I have a problem, maybe, a kind of a disconnect between what turns me on physically and what turns me on intellectually and emotionally. But what did I think in American Man? You know what? I went out to Colorado for a while, and what turned me on out there were these guys who would drive trucks. And they had dogs. They always had dogs, big dogs, of course. I mean, there's no such thing as a little yapper in the mountains of Colorado. And, you know, and if they had a sense of humor, that was enough. They actually didn't have to know anything. They had to know enough to shut up. But if they had a kind of sense of humor and they were playful, and then after you make love to them, they'd spend the night. And then in the morning, they'd say, oh, I'll make breakfast, and say, holy shit. Because there's no Irish guy in Ireland who's ever made breakfast, ever, alone.
Or eaten breakfast either. It's usually a beer, isn't it? Or a little Guinness in the morning?
Well, yes. Yes, you've got that right. But the Colorado guys, they had the plaid shirts and the blue jeans, and they could swing up into their truck. You know, it's like, wow. They're in the seat, they're driving. I like a man who knows how to drive well, knows how to take care of his car, his truck. I like masculine competence. That turns me on. They don't actually, when I say I like a smart guy, anybody doesn't like a jerk. But I almost never meet a guy who's that smart and that appealing, frankly. You know, so if I'm going to give up on anything, you know, I can entertain myself, watch TV. I think you and I share a taste for Morning Joe, not Joe Scarborough, who I don't have a big taste for, but the show Morning Joe. I like those guys that know stuff, you know, and they come on and they talk, and that turns me on.
Well, those heads of state, they know a lot. So, in fact, did you ever think about giving head of state or what?
Oh, you are just such a filthy dude.
Can I ask that? Can I ask that to you?
No, you can't ask that. God. And you know what? You're a typical man. If I say anything the least bit sensual, they take it right down into the garbage. You know, you have to be playful with yourself. I think, actually, when I was in Egypt, I was thinking about Hosni Mubarak. And that is so bad. I can't tell you. Every time I find out these guys are all tyrants. It's really annoying. I think I like a big head, too. Besides a big chest, I like a big head. I don't think there's too many pin-headed heads of state.
They do a lot of whipping of people, too, you know. That's like the Shah of Iran.
Oh, I suppose you think that might turn me on. Well, guess what? A little whipping, I'd be the one doing the whipping.
Let's get back to Colorado.
Yes.
We have to play this on public TV.
Oh, I see. So it has to be clean, doesn't
well, it has to be over their heads are clean, you know, but they get whipping. Everybody gets that one. And now these Colorado guys, they have those tight butts, don't they, in the jeans? Is that what you're really going for?
No, it was more the whole picture. I know men always want to get women, you know, on the physical stuff. But to me, the physical stuff, even though it's, you know, the big chest and all that I said, there's something about that that's comforting. And with these guys, I think it was a kind of devil-may-care quality that I liked. You know, they knew what they wanted. You know, they did want the cold beer. They did want the burger and fries. And they wanted a woman who, you know, could move around in bed, for God's sakes, you know, and who was a little athletic.
Let me ask you a question on this.
Yes.
Do they take their boots off when they drop their pants? I mean, what happens? How fast is this? These guys are used to jumping on horses.
No, they weren't that fast in the sack, those boys. But they were younger. This was a while ago. They were probably mostly between the ages of like 28 and 38, which is an ideal period for men physically. About you know, 52, they're already washed up, which is sad because they shouldn't be. And by then, maybe they would even know how to make love.
Maybe. Okay, so that you have these Colorado guys. They're young. They can kind of jump on the truck. They got a shotgun in the back. Do they have a dog? Do they smell like dogs?
No, they actually smell clean. They like to take their morning shower.
No. Okay.
I don't think a dirty guy.
You were in clean Colorado then, not you weren't in dirty Colorado, basically, where the guys have dogs and they sit up in the front with the dogs and they smoke cigars and
They don't
chew
smoke
tobacco?
cigars, no.
No?
And they don't, no. I don't think you've ever been in the mountains of Colorado.
Are you sure these were cowboys or these gay guys?
They were cowboy-like and they were not gay at all. And I like a gay fella, but not for sex. Gay fellas are fun to go to the movies with. They're fun to go dancing with, drinking with, making jokes with, doing your hair, but not the bed.
Now, let me ask you a question now. You were down in Mexico. You were down and you were looking at the Mexicans, the caballeros, you know. They're around with their boots. They ride horses. They look at the women. They appreciate women. They're always giving you the nod up and down, you know. It's a very slow take. I know. I watched them give it to you when you were down there. What's your impression of the Mexican caballeros?
Well, you know, I didn't get to know any of them intimately, but they looked fabulous. I mean, I found the men in the mountains of Mexico. I guess I like mountain men. But the mountain men in Mexico, they were tall, they were handsome, they wore these great hats, they had mustaches, they had nice smiles. They're, I guess the cowboy look, maybe from my childhood we would watch the American films, you know. And there's something about the cowboy look, that clean face, maybe a mustache, they rarely have beards. And they're small through the middle, you know, their waists are small, they're hearty. But we keep bringing it back to the physical, and although sex is certainly very physical.
Well, they sing, those gentlemen, too. They sing those cantos, you know.
Oh, they're beautiful singers, some of them.
Like that.
Yes.
All night long and all day long. They would sing you to sleep.
I didn't have that experience. Oh, I wish I had.
I think there's some of your lovers calling now.
Or
I can hear that ring.
Okay, well, shall we hop off?
I think so. This is so hot.
Thank
We'll
you
be
for
able
the
to handle
interview,
it.
my dear.
Oh, Molly, yours too much.